You're all the way here. But that has not changed. Finding the awareness, having the awareness, being that awareness is all you need to have the foundation for anything that you're wanting to step into. So, how do you find the foundation? You just feel for it. That's all. And it's there, and it's there again, and it's there again. So, that's the work. It gets a little more complicated because of all of the things that you're living that come up that pull you away from that, but that's part of the process. So when you find that balance and that resolution within yourself, it's going to lay out that red carpet for all future experiences. You may not find what you would call a quick fix or an instant solution, but that's okay because this is an ongoing developing process, being alive in this body, being here, creating. So just trust the information that flows to you and follow it and give it more of the benefit of the doubt and give it more of the opportunity to fully express and see what comes from it. That's how you strengthen that muscle. That's how you practice this. That's how you make it familiar to you.
So the thing that's interesting to me is the sort of back and forth a little bit. So, understanding one's own connection, you know, within, and feeling that and trusting and allowing and accepting and being in that space of, that sense of freedom, is beautiful and is, you know, um, empowering. And and then the world kind of throws something at you like a little curveball or something, and seeing that curveball as really another opportunity to just kind of realign, uh, is great. And I think that's sometimes the purpose of all of that, to just keep moving into alignment, into alignment, but not, but at the same time, not denying, right? So the feeling of maybe having that curveball might not be a very good feeling within. It may be sad or mad or, upsetting. And recognizing that that emotion is also telling me something, telling me maybe that I'm not in alignment, but then really understanding the resistance, or, also feeling the resistance. It can be, I'm not I'm not trying to be in my head about it all. It's more about being, like open to the whole like flow of
Yes.
the gamut, of emotions and shifts that happen.
And we want you to trust the knowledge and the impetus and the impulses of that inner energy, because when you have that as your consistent intention, you can trust and then allow yourself to let go of whatever is causing that resistance. When you trust the flow of the energy, then you can again just let go of anything that's holding you back and let yourself move fully in it. It's only when you start, as you say, getting into your head or resisting the resistance or trying to figure everything out, that building feeling of discomfort is letting you know that you're not letting it go. And as you do, your thoughts will change, your emotions will move and shift and change, and it'll always bring you to the next step. It'll always bring you to the next step. And
Mm.
then you'll get to the place where you're enjoying it, where you're appreciating the process. As you are fully enjoying, embracing, allowing yourself to relax into this inner unfolding, then it moves so much more quickly and it becomes so much easier and it becomes so much more effective. So there is that compound interest that you can develop on this as you allow yourself to really enjoy the process and to notice that all that is important is that you receive the next step. The next step comes, the next step comes, the next idea, the next impulse, the next development, the next inspiration. And that's all you need,
Mm.
because that impulse, that new idea can lead you to something that will sustain you for the long term.
Mm.
But you don't have to figure that all out. All you have to do is receive that next step. And if you're questioning why something is coming up, if you're talking about why you're not enjoying it, if you're trying to figure it all out, that emotion, that energetic dissonance that you're feeling is letting you know that the next step is right there, but you're just buffering it away just a little bit. That the next idea is, the solution is ready to flow to you, but you're just not quite letting it in. So just drop it.
Well, I'd like to ask you about a just drop it. Yeah. I'd like to ask you about two things, two examples, if you don't mind. Um, so this past week, I kind of hit a wall with the work that I was doing for this little business, which is growing, and the professor at the university, which they're kind of woven together, but it was getting out of hand. I mean, I was just working nonstop. I felt, like I was tired, but I had to keep working because there was so much on my plate and I had to get it all done. And I finally just said to Greg that it wasn't working, that I couldn't get everything done, and that I was feeling like something was going to fall through the cracks. And I'm in the middle of the conversation with him, and he gets a phone call from somebody else, and he says, "I have to go." And I was like, "What? I was just talking to you about something that's really important." And I said that to myself, but I trusted him that he heard me. And at the same time, I was like, "What?" So then the next morning, I got a call from this other guy, Ian, who's going to step into the CEO role. And he said, "Look, Greg told me that you're pretty overwhelmed, and he also told me that when Marilyn's ready to say uncle, she really means it. So, we're going to do something here. We're going to hire somebody else." So they said, put together a job description to get somebody hired, which was awesome, which will help me like immensely because I need that breathing space. So, but it was almost like it had to get to the point where it was unbearable before I said something. And, I let myself feel that, that angst about, oh, I've got to say something. And, but I knew I did. And I said something. And I just wondered, sometimes do we, you know, I don't think we have to wait until things build up and build up and build up to the point of, like, uncle, it hurts, before we make a change. But
It is
yet,
all about your threshold and what you're willing, because there are many people who would not take that as unacceptable, but who would push on and grade on until something gives, whether it's their health or something of that sort, to have that revelation. And so you've reached your own personal threshold and you get to play with that. You get to have an argument and you get to dig in deeper and see the result of it. You get to let yourself be overwhelmed and see how far you can push it. You get to stress your body and see how far you can really take it. And that's part of this process too, because we're not saying at the slightest hint of discomfort, run for the hills, but you get to decide how much of this you're able to take on and still be in balance. And that's what you're describing to us here, is that deciphering and that deciding process. So rather than there being some sort of one size fits all rule with that, it's about what works for you. And that's what you're deciphering. That's what you're discovering with all of this and with everything.
mm. Well, it's interesting because I had said that in the past to somebody else in another job, and then I got fired. So it was like, um, you know, it was very hard for me to like not keep taking stuff on, without the fear of being, let go because, whatever the person is thinking. But there was a difference because I trusted that I was doing this for myself because I cared about myself. And it wasn't about, you know, um, how somebody was going to look at me,
Indeed.
Yeah.
And then what stays with you is what matches that decision. If you make a decision to show yourself love when someone had not been showing you love, and as you continue to show yourself appreciation and love, that person leaves your experience, we say, good. They're not a match for that. But if you start showing yourself, in this case, that appreciation and recognizing that delineation, you could call it a boundary if you want, and having that recognition in that previous employment experience, they weren't a match to that. And so they moved away. In this case, they are a match to that next step. And so we carry forward
Okay. Okay. That's
for
helpful.
now, at least, but it's a continually refining process. But that's why we're saying we want you to have that trust in the inner energy, because when you prioritize that, whatever happens on the other side is going to be an extension of that connection with the inner energy. The
Mm,
details you don't need to figure out. You cannot figure out. It's so much bigger than this thought that you're trying to have about the situation. So prioritizing again the inner energy, trusting that allows you to let it go and to let the inner energy flow.
So it's almost like it's not about the circumstances so much surrounding the energy. It's like the energy is here, the center at the core, and my connection with that energy, my trust, my, whatever comes out of that, my love for myself, my appreciation for, whatever my life, my job, that comes out of that is actually the energy that is then in a decision I make carrying me forward is what you're
Every time.
saying. Yeah.
But you could stay in that frustration. You could stay in that gridlock and let that be your state of being, in which case you will see more and more and more of it pile on. But when you make that decision, and of course, you could change the way you relate with the work and it becomes a little easier, but you also have to make it less about the intellectual game of trying to solve this and balance that and this and that and all of that, but just recognize the feeling. When you're going to have that conversation, did it feel like mounting pressure and fear, or did you feel a relief in the expression?
Definitely a relief.
So there you go.
Yeah. Okay, well that makes sense. And as I, think back on the conversation, I started out by asking Greg, "Are you in a good mood?" He's like, "Why did something awful happen?" So, it's sort of like there was a relaxed nature about it, even though it was important for me to express, I didn't like it didn't come from this place of fear. And so yeah, so I see totally what you're saying. And that's really helpful to point that out. Really helpful.
And it applies to all things.
Well, I have one other question then because I'm preparing an online course with these two other women who I met in an online group, kind of a spiritual study group, and this course is about sort of connecting with your higher self. Like allowing that energy to be predominant like we're talking about here tonight. And so 6 weeks, and we decided on a certain amount to charge for the course, and we're going to coach people through it and all of that. And so we've been doing some marketing, and we've gotten some students, which is awesome. We've gotten a couple students, but we'd really like to get more students. So I think that for the three of us, our fears are coming up around, oh, well, what if we don't get any more students? Or, what if? And then we'll talk to each other and we'll say, no, this is about us doing this, this is the experience of bringing this forward. This is what we want to do. This is, how our hearts are open, how we're being called. And so then we go that way. And then we come back to, yeah, but only 3 people signed up. So, in that dynamic of that kind of moving back and forth, are we so we recognize that the awareness is there, as you were talking about, at the beginning of this call. The awareness is there, but we're kind of moving through some of our own resistance and fears around it. Is that reflected then in the students that
It
we're
is.
receiving? Okay. Mm-hmm.
It is. When you have the vision and you commit to it and then recommit and recommit and recommit,
Mm-hmm.
the answers will come. And it may be a totally different approach. It may be an extension of the same approach. It may be working with the 3 that you have, enjoying that, making the most out of that, and
Mm-hmm.
then reaching out in different ways.
Yeah. I mean, we're totally committed to enjoying the 3 people who have signed up. And I think, we are also looking at it as an opportunity to really kind of get into the material and work with people with the material and kind of understand how it fits, and there's a lot of joy there for sure. So I think it's this idea of what is success, that kind of comes in, and maybe,
Well, you define it.
yeah.
You define it. Is it money in the bank? Is it a certain number of students? Do they have to be the same? So you get to define that, whatever success means to you. And as you commit to it, that is what you'll see come about.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, that's a good question. So even in the sort of the physical kind of numbers and um, outreach, like if we said that success was having 10 students enrolled in the class and having, a really nice dialogue and feeling like we're all kind of, our energies are coming together in a really powerful way to create, like new ideas or expansion. If that's success and that's what we commit to, that's the evidence. That's
Or
the
something better. And in order to achieve it, we want you to describe the essence of that. So when we speak of essence, we're talking about the feeling, we're talking about the juice in that. And that's what we want you to commit to. This idea of success is just the bridge that you're using to be able to identify the essence that you then continue to practice. And the essence will continue to reveal itself to you in different forms.
I hear you. Yes.
So what is it? Is it abundance? Is it accomplishment? Is it satisfaction? Is it helping others? Is it a little bit of all of that?
It's a little bit of all of that. It's fun. It's a feeling of expressing, what I'm passionate about, and of connecting with people who are like-minded, or who are also, on a sort of spiritual, kind of joy path of, loving this idea of soul connection, and, embodying the higher self, and it's a sense of, yes, being a teacher, enjoying being a teacher, enjoying being yeah, all that.
So that's the essence. And for Anson here, this is going to be maybe a new approach what we're going to describe here. So you boil it down, and you boil it down into maybe a few words here. So uplifting others, abundance coming in, feeling satisfaction, a full roster. I love having these 10 students, and that's the essence. And then you take a sheet of paper and you draw a circle in the middle, and you write that essence into that smaller circle. And then you just sort of relax and you let yourself ease into that essence. And as you're thinking about it, as you're looking at it, new ideas start to come. So something may then flash into your mind. We're all on a webinar and we're having so much fun. And so you draw from that primary circle a line, and then you write at the end of that 10 students having fun on a webinar and everyone's enjoying each other. And then you sit back and you relax and you look at it some more, and then you just notice what comes to you next. Because what you're doing here is you're focusing on the essence, and so the essence becomes stronger. And as the essence becomes stronger, more ideas that are tied to it are drawn to you. And as you recognize those and write them down, now the essence has intensified and it can come to you faster and faster. So you're sort of looking at, now you have one line drawn and the main idea, and you're looking at it and relaxing, and then you see someone is speaking in the webinar and they're having a really wonderful time. So now you take that first bubble that you've drawn and you draw another line out from that because it's filling it in. You write, someone is speaking and they're enjoying themselves. Then you sit back and you look at it. And then you see, I'm easily paying all of my bills because abundance flows very easily. And so now from the primary circle, you draw a line and you write, money is flowing in easily and abundance is enjoyable to receive. And you sit back again and you take it all in. And then you start to see, I'm going on a vacation with my family. It's very enjoyable. And so now from that new bubble you've drawn about abundance, you draw another offshoot and you write that in. And so you take 5, 10, you take 15 minutes to really just let whatever flows come, creating this image. And by the time you step back, you'll have this paper that's filled with all of the writing. But more importantly, we want you to recognize that the strength and focus of the essence has become more developed. And that's how you know you're really doing the creative work. And the details may change day to day, but if you make this a daily process, you'll notice that each time you visit it, not only does it become easier, but the essence is so fresh. The energy is so present. The feeling is so alive within you, and it keeps getting stronger with each passing day. And then you make the correlation. You have that revelation and the recognition that as that essence is getting stronger, as you recognize it through your feelings, through the presence of through the presence of that energy getting stronger and more defined and more present within you, that's when you're a magnet. That's when it's being drawn to you. That's when all of the people, places, things, ideas, everything that you need are in that moment being magnetized to you. And then all you have to do is carry about your day. You don't have to think about it all day, but you can. You can take that sheet of paper that's been filled out and you can stick it in your pocket for the day. And if you want a little refreshment, you can look at that and the energy will come present, and you just stay there for a little bit, let the energy become even stronger, and then you let it go and you carry on. And then the next day and the next day. And again, it's just going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. It's not about the things that you're writing down. It's not about getting it right. It's not about defining what you want to an exact T and needing to stick to that. But it's using that connection to the energy to inspire the new ideas, letting those shift and change as you continue forward. And then it must show up for you. And this is not the only process, of course, to achieve that, but it's a very easy, very simple process. You can visualize it. You can sit there and put yourself in those shoes. You can make it real to you. You can describe it in different ways. You can create a vision board. You can do all of these different things, but the essence, the feeling, the presence of that energy is what lets you know that you're in the process of that creation. So you came to us on this subject, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So that's the decision point.
Yeah. No, that was awesome.
Yeah. It's funny, Mom. You said that you're doing a group with some friends, and one of my best friends in North Carolina, we're building this website with, we want to build it with processes, like different processes that people can do, emotional process, different process to free themselves to become more aware. And right now we're stuck with, we want people to look at it and like give it a test run to give us ideas, like to see how they like it or don't like it. But it's like you were saying that, right now we only have a couple people. So I was thinking, oh, we need more people. We need more people to find more people to see how it's going to work and how. And of course, you also start to doubt yourself, or you start always putting all these what ifs there or what ifs there. It's like first you had the excitement, it's built, and I was like, what if and what if. So I guess what he's saying, you have to continue with that burst of excitement and let that take you through it. So
Indeed.
that's awesome. So it's like it's awesome that you're doing that with your friends. And as you was talking, Marilyn, I was thinking, even if you help one person,
Mm-hmm.
you've done an awesome thing.
Mm-hmm.
We look at these big numbers, we want big numbers, you know what I'm saying? But even if you help one person to become aware or somewhat spiritual, you've done a great thing.
And that's the essence. In that moment of recognizing the help that you've offered, in that moment of feeling the appreciation for the work that someone has done or how far they've come, that's the essence that you're looking to achieve or to feel from all of that great barrage of students come in. So how do you get there? You find the essence, you find that appreciation, you focus there and you let it grow. It's a feeling of satisfaction. It's a feeling of being proud of someone. It's a feeling of knowing your worth and your value and knowing their value as well. And it's a feeling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely recognize that feeling. It feels awesome and it feels full. Like it feels like a very full feeling. So it's like happy feeling. Happy.
So do whatever you can to find that feeling during the day, whatever you can.
Mm-hmm. Did you want to say something, Anson?
No, no, I was just thinking of you're not your. I read a book a long time ago, and it says that you're not your emotions. We kind of beat ourselves up when we think, your emotions can move you up or down, happy or sad, whatever, on a scale. So when bad things happen, we get depressed or mad or whatever, and we start to beat ourselves up. And the book was just saying that we're not our emotions. We think we are in that moment. You know what I'm saying? So find that happy place all the time. It's always there. It's never went nowhere. You just decided to act on that emotion. You know what I'm saying? In that moment, if that makes sense.
It makes sense from the point of view that I believed something or I thought something that was perhaps hurtful or painful, but it wasn't really that way. I ascribed that, idea to it.
Hmm.
I, you know, and, and, and maybe, as a habit, I allow myself to see it that way. But then I think what Joseph was saying earlier is this idea that, you know, when you find the energy in the middle of all of that, you know, that those emotions have a chance to kind of relax, kind of move. Yeah.
They shift and
Hmm.
they change and they move down the river's path, taking you back to that connection that you recognize as the feeling.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I wonder too, like any condition in life, any, situation that I might, you know, have fear or resistance or deem negative or bad. I mean, really, in that moment, I may be feeling that, but but there's another opportunity on the other side of that, right? There's
Every
another,
time. That's
yeah.
what the feeling is telling you. If there's any sort of tension, that's what it's telling you. There's the next step, the next idea, the solution is right there, but there's something that's standing in the way of receiving it. That's what that feeling is. That's what it's indicating to you. So you just have to find a way to let that dissolve and let it release, let the new idea flow in, the inspiration occurs to you, and then you take 15 minutes to focus yourself into that essence every day. It's a good life.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Even as a caregiver for someone, who has like a disability, um, that it's I'm trying to find my way through this a little bit because the medical establishment says one thing and then my heart says something else, and then you know and then perhaps things show up in a different way. It's kind of like it's like this whole gamut, it's whole spectrum of things. And what I want is that essence of love to be the dominant force, the dominant power, the dominant, reflection for me. I want the dominant feeling and the dominant reflection in the whole experience. I mean, that is what I want out of all of it.
So it is. That's your intention.
Yeah. Yeah. Love and, kindness and understanding and, you know, and that, but I'll tell you, um, I kept thinking to myself, why did I choose this? As a soul, why did I choose this and create this? And not because I think that I shouldn't have, but just to understand why. And I kept thinking that this is really like for me an opportunity to keep choosing love, to keep choosing love, to keep choosing love. Like a lot
And
over
that's
and
what your soul is choosing.
love, love, yeah, yeah. And that's a really beautiful thing because not only do I feel it in me, but then what happens is like it's snowing. I don't think you can see, but it's snowing and it's May 11th, or 10th, whatever. And I was like, wow, we get another chance to enjoy the snow, and people are so sick of the snow.
Yeah.
But there's a beauty and there's a love, even in like a strange snowstorm in the middle of May, there's like, but it has to come from here first,
Yes.
come from, yeah.
And you found it, and you found it again, and you found it again, and you found it again.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty amazing. Thank you.
Indeed.
Hmm.
It's a letting go. You found it. Anything else here?
No, I think that you are awesome today, Joseph. Thank you for
Yes.
reminding us of this process. Um, and um, yeah, I'm like soaking in the energy right now.
Indeed. You've called it forward.
Yes.
So
Mm,
continue to enjoy it, and you'll get more of it. Nice and simple, yes.
yes.
And it will come to you in all different directions. So let yourself be open to the different paths that abundance and uplifting others will bring to you. Things like what you are both creating, what you are all creating.
Hmm.
They're a means to an end, if you would, but it's not the only path there. So be open. Be open to all the different ideas. Be open to things shifting and changing. Don't cling to an idea if it's feeling like you're not getting any joy from it. Let
Mm,
yourself shift and change. Let the new ideas come to you,
mm,
and they will.
yeah. Follow the joy.
There's always more.
Okay.
And you're always in the right place at the right time. I have to
You
remind
are.
myself that.
You are.
Right place, right time.
And any discomfort you're feeling in that right place and right time, that's the only thing that's preventing you from receiving the next idea that's going to be the solution you were looking for anyway. So make the best of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always around the corner when you're feeling that way. Yeah. Okay.
Enjoy the process.
Thank you, Joseph.
Yes.
I will enjoy the
Thank
process.
you.
We are complete. Hey.
Hi, Aaron.
Hi.
Yeah,
Thank
hello.
you.
Yay.
They're
Thank you,
giving
thank
us
you.
so much good energy tonight. Thank you.
Just enjoying the process. Yeah.
Enjoying the process. Absolutely. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, good. Great.
All right. Well,
Thank you.
Okay, I'll see y'all on Thursday. Yeah, exactly.
I might not be here Thursday. I'm going to Orlando, so I'll try my best to log on. I don't know what time I'll get there.
Absolutely. If you have any
So-
questions, feel free to write them in and we can go through them on the call too.
that's a good
Oh,
idea.
awesome.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Yep.
All right.
Good seeing you.
See you,
See you
Marvin.
next
Thank you.
time.
Have a good
night.
week.
Have a good week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.